Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive debate about the secrets of greatness. We're pitting two totally opposing approaches against each other: intense, laser-like focus versus wild, unbounded versatility. So, if you've ever found yourself wondering, hey, should I dedicate my entire life to mastering just one single skill, or should I follow my curiosity down a dozen different rabbit holes? Well, you're in the exact right place. Let's get right into it.
Let's kick things off with a question that has literally kept researchers, educators, and psychologists up at night for decades. Are great performers born, or are they made? I mean, is world-class talent just something written into your genes, like some unavoidable destiny, or is it something else entirely?
Okay, first, let's actually pin down what we mean when we talk about talent. On one side of the ring, we've got the nature hypothesis. This is the idea that talent is basically an innate ability, a natural endowment or a gift that you're just born with. Simply put, you either have it or you don't. But on the other side, we have the nurture hypothesis. This one suggests that talent is actually a specifically developed aptitude. It's built from the ground up, not just magically handed to you.
So what does this nurture side actually look like in the real world? Well, consider this mind-blowing data on elite Canadian hockey players. In any top-tier group of these athletes, a massive 40% are born between January and March. Another 30% are born between April and June. That leaves a measly 30% combined for the entire rest of the year. So what's going on here? Is it astrology? No way. It's actually because the age cutoff date for youth hockey in Canada is January 1st. Kids born in January are just a little bit older, bigger, and more coordinated than kids born in December of that exact same year. Because of that early advantage, they get picked for better teams, they get better coaching, and eventually they become elite. The system is nurturing them. It's not some magic genetic hockey gene.
And honestly, that brilliantly illustrates what researchers who study expert performance have been saying for years. Take K. Anders Ericsson, for instance. He pointed out that, sure, things like height and body size matter in certain sports, but other than that, no characteristic of the brain or body has ever been shown to stop an individual from reaching an expert level. Essentially, unless you literally need to be 7 feet tall to play center in the NBA, your innate physical traits are not what's holding you back from becoming an absolute expert. So what is the crucial differentiator then? Well, it's practice. But more specifically, it's how much you practice. There was this famous study done at the Berlin Academy of Music focusing on violin players. They found that by the time these musicians reached age 20, the ones categorized as truly elite had racked up a staggering 10,000 hours of practice. The good musicians, they had put in about 8,000 hours, and the ones studying to become music teachers had only done about 4,000. The big separator here wasn't some innate magic, it was just the sheer massive volume of hours they put in. This exact research actually sparked a remarkably consistent finding across all sorts of fields, and it's known as the 10-year rule. The idea is that to become truly world-class at almost anything, it takes around a decade of practice. But wait, it's not just any practice. It has to be what researchers call deliberate practice. Because, you can't just casually strum a guitar in your bedroom for 10 years and magically wake up as Jimi Hendrix. So you might be wondering, what exactly does this deliberate practice look like? Well, it's highly structured and frankly, it's pretty rigorous. First off, you have to identify a very specific skill that needs improvement. Second, you devise a focused exercise designed exclusively to improve that one skill. Third, you practice it repeatedly. Fourth, you get immediate feedback and make adjustments. And fifth, you actively push your limits, fully expecting to fail over and over again. This is intense, exhausting work. We're talking up to 3 hours a day of supreme, mentally draining concentration. Now, the absolute critical engine of that entire process is feedback. It is literally essential for expert performance. Think about medical doctors making diagnoses, for example. Research actually shows that most doctors get very little direct feedback on whether their past diagnoses were correct or not. And because of that, they can actually make increasingly poor diagnoses over time. But the doctors who actively go out of their way to seek feedback and challenge their own assumptions, they make increasingly good diagnoses. Basically, practice without feedback is just you getting really, really good at repeating your own mistakes.
Okay, so the path to mastery seems pretty clear, right? Pick one thing, dedicate 10 years and 10,000 hours to it, get brutal feedback, and specialize. But let's completely pivot for a second and look at the exact opposite viewpoint. What if focusing on just one single thing is actually holding us back? What if this intense, hyper-specialized focus is actually stifling our true human potential?
To really explore that, we need to look at the work of Waqas Ahmed. He's an interdisciplinary scholar and the author of a book called The Polymath. He argues that specialization in our education and in our workplaces is actually stifling human curiosity and potential. Ahmed points out that, naturally, human beings have multiple interests. We're curious creatures. But the Industrial Revolution kind of created what he calls a cult of specialization. We built these production line education systems and highly segmented workplaces that force us all into very narrow little lanes. And he argues that's deeply dehumanizing.
So instead of that hyper-specialization, Ahmed is a huge advocate for unlocking human versatility. He defines a polymath as someone who has made significant contributions to at least 3 totally different fields. And here's the real kicker. He says polymaths aren't just these exceptionally rare, gifted geniuses. Instead, he believes every single human being has the innate potential to become one, just by honoring our natural, diverse curiosities instead of constantly suppressing them.
When we put these two philosophies side by side, it reveals this absolutely fascinating divide. On one side, we have deliberate practice, spending 10,000 grueling hours mastering a single, narrow domain just to become an elite specialist. And on the flip side, we have polymathy, combining knowledge and skills from multiple, totally diverse areas to solve complex, multidimensional problems. One path goes endlessly deep, while the other goes brilliantly wide.
And you know what? The data actually really supports the power of this versatility. Just consider this massive multiplier, 25 times. A study looked at highly specialized professionals, specifically Nobel Prize-winning scientists, and found that they are a staggering 25 times more likely to sing, dance, or act than your average scientist. No way, right? Their peripheral hobbies and diverse experiences are frequently cited as giving them the exact creative insights they needed to succeed in their super technical day jobs.
So all this diverse exploration really builds into a highly advantageous mindset. The perks of a polymathic approach are actually huge. For starters, diversifying your domains can straight up enhance your general intelligence. Like studies have shown that kids score higher on IQ tests after taking drum lessons. Second, it fosters a ton of open-mindedness. When you know a bit about multiple fields, you start to recognize the limitations of your own knowledge. And third, it totally bridges the gap between thinking and doing, proving that taking action and being intellectual actually support each other perfectly.
All of this brings us to a really beautiful concept known as consilience. Basically, it means approaching reality not just through the lens of a single academic discipline, but by connecting multiple different perspectives. Historical polymaths like Leonardo da Vinci embodied this flawlessly. A true polymath doesn't look at biology, art, and mathematics as separate, isolated boxes. They see connections where everyone else just sees differences. Da Vinci was able to advance multiple fields at the exact same time simply by applying mathematical principles to his art and to his anatomical studies. It's like a giant puzzle coming together.
So that brings us to our final thought. We've looked at the undeniable power of 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to create these hyper-elite specialists. But we've also seen the incredible creative emancipation that comes with a versatile polymathic mindset. So as you go out and design your own educational or professional journey, ask yourself this. To solve the really complex, multidimensional challenges of the 21st century, like climate change or global health, do we need to build more specialized masters, or do we desperately need to cultivate versatile polymaths? Or, just maybe, is there a way to be a little bit of both? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.